Adventurous kids, explore with education and learning what a wildlife is in the Everglades. I want to explore the Museum of Discovering Science. What plants do butterflies like? I want to know about Key West Adventurous Kids, learning and fun. Adventurous Kids!
Today I'm going to tell you about buoyancy. Buoyancy means something's ability to stay floating in water instead of sinking. It comes from the Spanish word for float, buoyar. The question of why some objects sink in fluids while others float can be answered using the law of buoyancy. This law is known as Archimedes' principle, after the Greek scientist who discovered it. Through his experiments, Archimedes found that any object that is completely or partially submerged in a fluid, either liquid or gas, is acted by an upward or buoyant force. When something is in the water, there are two different forces acting on it. These are the object's weight plus the force of the water pushing up. This force is called upthrust. If the weight is equal to or less than the upthrust, it floats. Things that float are buoyant. If the weight is greater than the upthrust, it sinks. When you put an object into the water, it pushes water out of the way and takes the place of the water. We see that water displacement has occurred. An object immersed in water always displaces a volume of water equal to its own volume. Volume is a measure of the amount of space an object takes up. How compact or closely packed an object is determines how much water it will displace and therefore whether it will float or sink. This compactness is referred to as density. Any object that is in water has some buoyant force pushing up against gravity, which means that any object in water loses some weight. If the object displaces an amount of water equal to its own weight, the buoyant force acting on it will be equal to gravity, and the object will float. This means it has positive buoyancy. But if the object weighs more than the water it displaces, the buoyant force acting on it will be less than gravity and it will sink. This means it has negative buoyancy. Neutral buoyancy is the term used to describe an object that neither sinks to the bottom of a container of fluid nor floats to the top. An object with neutral buoyancy will weigh about the same as the displaced water. The upward and downward forces balance out, so the object hovers. This is why ships float. Salt water makes water more dense, allowing more types of objects to float when they might not in fresh water. Fresh water is less dense and many things sink. For example, if you drop a rock into a stream, it immediately sinks. The water around the rock is buoyed up by the displaced water, but it is too heavy to float. Drop a rock into the ocean, and the displaced will buoy it up initially, slowing it down. Eventually, gravity will pull it up to the bottom, though. Thanks for watching this Adventurous Kids episode.
What did you learn today?
Adventurous Kids!
Adventurous Kids!
What was the most interesting fact?
Adventurous Kids!
Adventurous Kids!
Adventurous